There are so many interesting, horrifying, or downright weird things in this big world of ours.
Each week, we'll bring you a new true crime story that has little to no coverage in English.
Let us do the translations so you don't have to.
I am Petra.
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Laura, and welcome to the podcast Translation Murder. Alrighty, guys, so it's my turn this week, and once again, we are in Germany because I couldn't leave. And there's quite a lot of cases here, so let's see if in the next couple weeks, if you see me back here in Germany or not. But yeah, this is going to be the cold case of Jutta Hoffmann.
Another cold
So yeah,
case.
yes, another cold case.
You actually inspired me about cold cases, and I might also break one next week, but let's see.
Okay. Is it just because you, I don't know, want to get out the news and you want to see it solved eventually?
I'm actually,
Or
yeah, because
how
I
is
don't
it?
know how cold it is. I know some stuff about it, not a lot of details. I think it's not entirely solved, but haven't really started my
Yeah.
research yet. Let's see. But cold cases are exciting.
Okay. Yeah. I'm happy to have inspired you. So yeah, so this place that we're going to be in for this episode is called Lindenfels. And at least in 2022, the population, according to Wikipedia, was 5,411 people. So a relatively small town, but the case obviously didn't take place in 2022. Took place about 3 decades earlier. So, but Lindenfels is a small town in Bergstrasse district in Hesse in Germany. And our particular case is going to happen in the year 1986. So, the 15-year-old Jutta Hoffmann lives
Sorry,
in
can I ask a
Lindenfels. Yeah,
question? So
yeah, for sure.
86 means that we still have East and West Germany. Which one is Hesse
Ah,
located?
so as far as I was remembering, it's on the western side of
Okay,
Germany.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I guess that makes difference, quite different societies. Yeah.
True. I didn't even think about this, but yeah, I mean, there was also some other stuff going on. I think that at the time of this murder, there was some World Cup finals for soccer going on in Mexico. I think it was like Argentina and Germany happening on this certain day in 1986.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, West
Yeah,
Germany,
thank you.
as
It
far as I
gives the
remember. Yeah,
context.
And it's also kind of
yeah.
close in time to your other case, the previous cold case, right? Wasn't that 89? Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Indeed, it was. Yeah, good memory. So relatively small town. I'm guessing that it was probably around the same population size in 1986. Jutta lives with her twin brother, Horst, and her parents in Lindenfels. And on this particular day, like I said, there was the World Cup final soccer against Argentina and Germany, I think in Mexico going on. And it was also quite hot, so she went to the outdoor swimming pool with her friends and just to cool off on the evening of June 29th. And then at about 5:45 in the evening, she started walking back home, but she never made it. So to get home, she walked on a forest path. And once again, lots of forest in Germany, lots of trees, which is nice to have in around your town, but it's also dangerous in some regards if there's murderers around. So just like my first case, indeed, or the second case that I covered in Germany, that she was kind of attacked on this forest path, or that's what is assumed that happened. So when she was walking on this path, she was noticed by a mother with her child, and they were also headed to the pool to cool off that night. And the eyewitness also is how we kind of have the timeline of about 17:45 or 5:45 in the evening, because she recognized this youth. And if the population was around 5,000, I'm assuming that she maybe even knew her. Who knows? It's kind of a small population. So yeah, we have the timeline of her heading home at 5:45 towards the center or towards her home. And the woman also claims to have seen two men walking on the path right before encountering Jutta. And the police didn't exclude these two men in the subsequent investigation because, after all, they didn't have the body of Jutta. She was a missing person at this time.
Were they walking behind her
So
or like how close?
that's what I was trying to think. Like, so she was walking away from the pool, which is, I guess, approximately going east, and then the mother was going west. And I think maybe I'm guessing that the men could have either been behind her, like walking in the same direction. That would make the most sense to me. Because if then they were walking in the same direction as the mother and the daughter headed towards the pool, then they would have seen them twice then, right? Like going back. So I think that they might have been following Jutta. I was trying to get this in my mind, and that's why I also had to kind of plot this out on Google Maps a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think that they were possibly following Jutta. So about a half an hour later, another passerby discovered a woman's white shoe and a bath mat. And
A
the
Batman,
passerby took,
like
yeah, a bath mat. I also was like, but yeah,
cool.
and
Yeah.
it wasn't a towel but a bath mat, so I don't know if this is like a German thing or not. It was indeed a bath mat. So
Okay.
yeah.
Because wait, what would be the difference? Like you're just sitting on one of them, like a bath mat, or
Uh, like how I would think of a bath mat is something that is kind of like a mat that's always on the ground to catch the
mm-hmm.
water. So maybe a bit more coarse,
Mm,
or like in the States, you have like the grippy material underneath the
Ah,
mat
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so you don't
yeah.
slip. But then, of course, in hotels here in Europe, you just have like maybe a bit more,
Like a thicker
what do you say,
towel,
like coarse?
kind of.
Yeah, like a thicker towel that you put
Mm-hmm.
down. So I think it was maybe something like that. So the passerby took the bath mat for some reason, but didn't take the shoe.
Oh, why did they even take it?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. They're like, oh, this is probably useful. Something probably happened to this person missing one shoe, but I'll just take this bath mat. And then the shoe couldn't be found later on for inclusion in the investigation. So whether there actually was a shoe or not, who knows? Because it was just one person saying that, yeah, there's a
Mm-hmm.
bath mat and a shoe. Whatever. Just an interesting kind of piece of information I found some places, so had to include it. And some more people also found another white shoe in the parking lot of a cemetery, which also later disappeared in the investigation. So these shoes weren't officially tied to Jutta in the end, but like chances are it probably was her, I'm guessing, and that's why they were included in some of these investigation reports, because a woman's white shoe, she probably wore white shoes, probably trendy back in the 80s,
I
whatever.
guess
And
probably her family confirmed that she did indeed have
yeah,
white shoes.
yeah, I was also thinking that too, but it wasn't mentioned that
Mm-hmm.
they did, so it was kind of difficult to determine whether it was indeed hers. So yeah. And yeah, so the witnesses, also the same ones that saw the shoe in the cemetery and whatever, they also saw witnessed these two guys tampering with the trunk of a dark Ford car. That's a bit
The same
conspicuous,
two
but
guys.
sure. That's questionable whether they are the same two guys or not, because the first woman with her child didn't give a description, or I couldn't find a description of them that she gave, like whether, yeah, what they looked like, just two guys. But then the people who saw them in the cemetery parking lot, they described the guys as approximately 30 to 35 years old, slimly built, well groomed, had short, frizzy dark hair, and one is said to have had like a rough or some pockmarked or scarred skin. So I don't know, sounds generally kind of typical guys, I
Mm-hmm.
would say. Like no really defining features besides the skin, so didn't really help much per se. And then, more annoyingly, another witness had heard a scream in the cemetery coming from a dark ford. So there was another person who actually heard something from possibly the same dark ford, because I doubt there was many in the parking lot of a cemetery.
Yeah.
And this witness tried to remember the license plate number of the car, but when she wrote it down later, she probably mixed up the numbers and the letters. And the license plate number that she gave to the police did not lead to anything after that. So just very, very
Mm.
frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mapped out Lindenfels just to get kind of the lay of the land. And because I was a bit confused about reading some of these articles, and they were mentioning a cemetery, they were mentioning the swimming pool, they were mentioning, the forest paths, and I just wanted to kind of get a better idea of the area. And of course it could have changed a lot in the 30 something years since the murder, but
Yeah, but
yeah.
cemeteries tend to stay, at least.
Exactly, yeah. So I figured that was the best landmark to kind of go off of. So it was only about 1.2 kilometers, or a bit less than a mile, from the swimming pool to the center of Lindenfels. And from the pool to the cemetery, the Friedhof Lindenfels, it was about 550 meters, or about a third of a mile. So this is all conjecture based on landmarks mentioned in the articles, because there's two cemeteries that could be it, but they said that she was kind of headed in the direction of the city center, so I kind of mapped out the closer one that is along kind of the route of the city center that you'd possibly walk. So I think it pretty much, the screenshot that I'll share on the probably on the Instagram page will will be kind of like the possibly the area that she walked when she was abducted.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would make sense. Because how do you know how far is the other cemetery?
It's also about the
Ah,
same
okay,
distance,
okay.
so like about a kilometer just in the other direction. So you could technically walk that way, but then it would take longer to get to the
Mm.
city center. And then there was also trees, so the trees could have changed in this time too. But there was like nice foresty area, kind of towards the east, a little bit southeast of the swimming pool, and between the cemetery and the swimming pool. So that's kind of that. There were several attempts at locating Jutta and just trying to see if she was still alive, and the police searches were just unsuccessful. But sadly, about 1 year and 8 months later, so she went missing on June 29th, and then on February 10th, 1988, in a forest in Lindenfels, a walker discovers skeletal remains and remnants of blue cotton dress and bikini. So
Wait a minute.
the
So
remain,
when
yeah,
has I discovered this?
she was missing on June 29th,
Yeah,
1986, and then she was discovered on February 10th, 1988. So about a year and 8 months
yeah,
later.
yeah.
There were skeletal remains and the remnants of a blue cotton dress and a bikini. And then the remains were identified as Jutta only by dental record, because the decomposition was so bad, I guess. It was difficult to determine the cause of death, but some stuff comes out a bit later with that. But just because the decomposition, it was
Hmm.
unclear, and I guess there was no skeletal markings or something that would indicate that she was bludgeoned
Hmm.
or what have you. So this case is like this. I guess this episode in general will be a bit quick because there's not that much information on it. But I just wanted to share up until this point. But do you guys have any questions or anything
I
right
was
now
just
up
thinking,
until
like this
this?
place where her remains were found. Like, how far was this
Hmm.
from the place where she was last seen?
Yeah, I tried to find that too, and there was nothing, but I'm guessing it must have been in that forest nearby, which is interesting because, like, I think she was found still in this Lindenfels.
Hmm.
So yeah, like,
And like, how?
I think the most
Why did they not
yeah.
find her earlier? Like, was I mean, yeah, but like, was it kind of deep in a forest, like where people don't usually walk, or?
Yeah, I have no
Mm.
idea. I tried to find more information. Like the most frustrating part about these cold cases, especially I would say in the 80s, okay, in different countries and stuff. I'm kind of course, I could try to contact some people like in the country, but what's mostly reported are the same
Mhm.
things, and they don't really go into the details of things just maybe because of people's sensibilities, like they didn't want to share any gruesome things about the murder, or they wanted to keep stuff close to their chest for the later on investigation or what have you. So it's a bit frustrating because, of course, in these cases, you want to help the investigation by sharing information. But if there's really not that much, like, yeah, so she was strangled or whatever, hey, maybe that strangulation would also lead to a different case,
Yeah.
or who
Yeah.
knows? There's more people out there that have the same exact MO,
Mhm.
you know? So I find that part most frustrating with these a bit older cases, especially in Europe, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess a
Um,
part of the reason for that is that, it's just like there's not a huge media coverage, not a lot of like international interest,
mm,
because when there is, then eventually there are like, if more people are interested, there are more details that come out. But that's the
yeah.
hard part of, I guess, maybe most of the cases that we're going to talk about here.
Definitely. And of course, we could have also long, super detailed and long discussions about, previous stuff. Like this kind of reminds me even of my previous German
Hmm.
case, for instance, like the yeah, abduction off of a forest path when you're walking home at night and, relatively small population and stuff. And yeah, it's just a bit shitty.
Yeah. Yeah. So sorry,
But yeah,
another thing. So
yeah.
in that case, they found her
Mm.
pretty quickly, right? In your previous case, was it just like within like a couple of
Y-
days?
Yeah, within like a couple
But
days.
in this
Yeah,
case,
yeah,
like it was
yeah.
18 months. So I'm just like
Yeah.
wondering, I'm
Yes.
sure they
Or
did a search.
yeah. Or 20 months
Okay,
actually, but
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
But like I'm sure they did like
Yeah.
a thorough search of the area. I don't know. Well, it's hard to even speculate since we don't know where exactly this place was where they found her. But it's
Mhm.
I don't know if it was kind of just
Yeah, and I mean, it could even have been, like, partially
yeah,
buried or
yeah.
something too, like, you just don't know, and I would love to know this kind of information because, well, it's important to kind of get into the mind of who did this and whether they were crazy or trying to just cover their tracks, or they did it by accident and didn't freak out, or
Hmm.
they did freak out, or it's yeah, important stuff, but
Or was
yeah,
her body
really, really
like
frustrating.
dumped there later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And when they were
yeah, and there
searching,
could
it
be
wasn't there. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, there could be evidence somewhere else and yeah, at a different site, for instance, but
But
yeah,
so how
so that's
l-
kind of
long
hmm? Yeah.
did it take? Like, did the family report her missing?
Yes. I think it was that night even she was supposed to be home and then she didn't come home and then like the next day they already started looking for her.
Yeah. Would make
Yeah.
sense that already at that point they would have done quite wide search around the
Mm.
forest area,
Yeah.
which could
Yeah.
imply that at that time her body, if we speculate that she was kind of murdered the night she went missing, that it didn't take actually place in that forest. With
Mm.
also the Ford, was it Ford? I mean the car, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that they were doing something with the, as if something was put inside there. Yeah, so kind of the car and the fact that she wasn't found makes me think that maybe she was taken to another place and
Yeah.
then, yeah, I don't
I
know,
was thinking the
Richard.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah. Do you guys have any other speculations or
I
anything at
had
all
another
or
question, but I don't know if this is
yeah.
even relevant, and you probably would have mentioned it, but did they find her shoes? Like, did she have her shoes on? Because you mentioned that her skeletal remains were found, and also she was wearing her bathing suit, right?
Yeah, so from my understanding that there was nothing else besides the blue cotton
Mm.
dress and the bikini. So indeed, those could have been her
Yeah.
shoes, her
Well,
white
not
shoes
not that
picked
it's really
off, and
relevant now because they didn't even end up having the shoes as
yeah,
evidence. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But can I rock your guys' world
Okay.
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please,
So
always.
I didn't know if I wanted to put this at the top of the episode. I was trying to like downplay everything just a little bit, but yeah, I didn't know if I wanted to kind of ruin the surprise or even give a hint that there was a surprise at the very end of the episode or
I
not.
love
But
surprises.
yeah, okay, cool. I don't really like
Yeah.
surprises, or actually, I hate knowing that there's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
surprise. I like surprises, but I hate like, oh, you have to wait for
You
your
actually
surprise.
want to
That's
be
what I hate.
surprised. Like you don't even want to
Yes.
know that there's gonna be a surprise.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. So I'm doing what I
Yes.
like
Yeah.
to you guys.
Yeah. This is the best.
Okay. So late March of 2023. So just recently.
Wow.
Um, I don't know if you remember me saying that this Aktenzeichen XY ungelost, this case number XY unsolved TV series. Do you remember me mentioning this in the last
Yes.
episode? And it has about a 40% track record for like the show's cases being
Yeah.
solved,
Mm-hmm.
right? So yeah, this case was presented in late March. I'm like these articles I was reading, it was kind of like, oh, like a week ago, this case was presented, and these were like usually on the 30th or the 31st of March, so probably like the 23rd or the 24th of March, this case was presented on an episode. And it was in hopes that there would be some more hints or even some more like eyewitnesses coming forth. And indeed there was.
Wow. I love
Yeah.
it when there's like,
So,
I don't know. Okay, I of course don't know if what you're gonna say, like has it been solved since or not, but it's always exciting to know when there's a very recent development.
yes, exactly. I love this type of stuff because I usually hate cold cases in the regard that fuck stuff isn't
Mm-hmm.
solved, it's unresolved,
Mm.
and but yeah, I figured I would give you guys a bit of a reprieve from feeling shitty after this episode.
Thank
So,
you.
So
yeah.
what
So,
happened? I
yeah.
mean,
Huh?
what do we know more?
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting to it. This is like a kind of a quote from like the police, and it says that there was an arrest warrant against a man from Bensheim. He is suspected of having killed the then 15-year-old student Jutta Hoffmann from the Odenwald, in Odenwald, 37 years ago. Well, I guess I can check where Odenwald. Anyway, yeah. So the man had already been convicted several times for sexual offenses and other crimes, and he has been in a psychiatric hospital in northern Germany since 2012 due to a ruling from the Kiel regional court. So yeah, there's a bit more on him, but do you guys have any questions on this part?
I
Yeah, actually the place interests me a lot. Like,
Yeah,
so
Odenwald. Yeah,
is this
I actually just noticed that myself.
yeah,
Yeah, because Wald is, yeah,
so
yeah.
it's not that
I'm going to
town.
check that quickly. No, I think it's like the mountain range in
Oh.
Germany. Yeah. So I guess she might have been found there. Now that I literally just read that and I was like, fuck, Odenwald. Okay, that's a
wait, how
place.
how
Shit.
close is that?
Uh,
We can we can look it up.
about a 36-minute drive or 27.7 kilometers.
Quite far away.
Yeah, but still like a
Yeah.
pretty short drive.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
If
yeah.
indeed
I
there
mean,
was a
yeah, if
person
you
with
have
a
a car,
car.
yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Hmm?
So did you
yeah.
say that he was in a mental hospital? And do we
Yes.
know why?
Yes.
Because like he
Yeah.
he
From
he
other
okay,
sexual
okay,
offenses.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess he has some type of, well, psychiatric condition because he's there. But yeah, I'm guessing that he has some type of mental illness that is attributing to these sexual crimes. And I think that was, instead of sending him to prison, they sent him to a psychiatric hospital. But
Yeah. Hey, just one more thing. Is
mhm.
Odin, because the Wikipedia says that Lindenfels lies in the Odenwald in southern Hesse. So Odenwald is just a wider area where this town is located in.
But I can also see like a town that's called Odenwald.
Yeah, there's a town called
But which
Odenwald
one
too,
does
so it's
this
kind of
mean? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
because
yeah,
know.
it
that's
sound
actually
I have
now I
interesting.
no
started
idea.
thinking that maybe it's just like a way to say it a bit, with a bit like it didn't happen in Siuntio, but it happened in Uusimaa, kind of.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
But
that would
yeah,
be
I mean,
interesting
this
to
is
Yeah.
know.
not super.
Yeah, there really wasn't that much
Yeah,
information, so I just kind of like copy pasted that quote in
Mm-hmm.
particular. But
yeah. But okay, sorry, that just bothered me if I don't say it.
yeah, yeah.
But okay, so we have some mentally ill and murderous sexual abuser here,
Mm-hmm.
and they arrested
Um,
him.
yeah.
Great that he had so much time to
Mm,
do more stuff between 86 and 2012.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2012. Yeah.
these
Yeah.
are always so sad,
Mm.
when you hear about a murder. A bit like the monster of the
Martvu.
Mörtfu, because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
murder happens, you don't catch the person, and then they surprise murder more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And in that case,
um,
they thought they did, or at least they were really eager
yeah,
to
yeah, that
find
was even.
someone to blame. Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, so this was
So,
the news that this guy was arrested, or what? Well, he was not
so
arrested
wait
because
for
he
it.
was already in the mental hospital. But what, like,
Yeah. So
yeah,
wait for
yeah.
it.
Okay, tell us more.
The suspicion against this accused person arose after some old trace evidence was reanalyzed with his DNA, and it was like discovered with his DNA. So possibly on the clothing, I would guess, that was found with her. And in the course of the investigation, the suspicion was finally confirmed, including through eyewitness statements due to basically from the TV show or whatever, the police had indeed gotten some further details from this unsolved crimes case number XY unsolved. So they got a call. Basically, they don't give out any information about what type of information this person gave, but they kind of pointed the finger, I guess, at this guy. And yeah, so they were able to basically get an arrest warrant because of all of the information and stuff that was given, and also this DNA. And to protect against the ongoing investigation, no further details about the investigation can currently be disclosed, just that there was DNA, there's eyewitnesses, etc. And the accused, who was convicted several times, including in the years after 1986 for sexual offenses, but also for other crimes, has been in the so called penal system in a psychiatric hospital in northern Germany since 2012, like I said. And he was brought before the investigating judge in Darmstadt in March, and after the arrest warrant was announced, the accused was initially taken back to the close psychiatric facility. So, not to prison per se, but taken back to this facility. So, but due to the suspect's past history, it's most likely that the perpetrator had raped and murdered Jutta, and that could be the source of the DNA sample that was aiding in this conviction. So, yeah. Pretty much like I would say not closed case per se. Like I tried to find more recent information, but of course with the media cycle and stuff, like the first articles were like really coming out on March 30th and
Mm-hmm.
March 31st of this year, 2023. So like yeah, I couldn't really find anything really after that per se, but I'm assuming that there will be a trial, but if he's in a psychiatric facility, I doubt he's going to be mentally stable or whatever to stand trial actually. So
Crazy that there was even DNA evidence left since her
yeah.
remains were found so late. Like, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. But I'm guessing there must have been some type of, yeah, either sperm DNA or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's incredible that there was still some stuff left.
Yeah. I just mean that, like, if she was like outside, uh, the
Yeah.
weather conditions and whatever affects it so much. So it's
Mm.
actually great that they could recover some DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. And unfortunately, this guy isn't really saying much either. He hasn't said, like, yeah, I did it. No, I didn't do it. So that's kind of a pity
Mm-hmm.
as well. But yeah, if there's this much evidence, I would be interested to see if he was maybe driving a dark Ford or something too, or what he looked like back in 1986, whether he was,
One of the
like,
guys that were seen.
yeah, one of the
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, just think of all the other stuff that this guy had been caught and done from 1986 to
Yeah.
2012. Sick motherfucker.
So many. I would have so many questions, but it's just yeah, well, I mean, kind of frustrating that there's so much we don't know. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
did he
yeah.
live in that same town around the time, or I don't
Mm,
know, like what is his,
yeah,
yeah, what was the tip
yeah.
that
Yeah, agreed. Like yeah, it's this episode is a bit lame. It's kind of like it was a nice twist at the end, but then at the same time,
no, I think
just a bit of a letdown. It's a bit of a short episode because there just really isn't that much information and stuff. But yeah.
I mean this is good news and I'm curious what,
Hmm.
if there will be any updates later on, if there is a trial, or
Hmm.
is it
Yeah.
still like now 100% confirmed that it was him? Or could there be any other explanation? Are we going to find out? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess like I don't know. I just started to think about this whole, you know, I don't know about the system in Germany, but I suppose they also don't have too long sentences. Like, I mean, of
Hmm.
course they don't have death sentence, but I don't know, for example, how long people have their life sentence in prison in case of murder and such. At least in Finland, I think basically the only way someone is sentenced for life, like really forever, is that they are deemed as mentally ill and dangerous. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I mean, I would assume that this type of guy. So I guess the point is that someone is so mentally unstable in an aggressive way that there's no way of rehabilitation that you could, you know, because
Yeah.
I think in many European countries that's still the point of prison, that you rehabilitate them somehow to be part of the society again, even if they are murderers.
Yeah. And I mean,
Hmm.
if it's great if it's possible, but, and I think it's like overall it's good if there's the, that that there's a possibility to reevaluate within like a number of years, but one would hope that that doesn't mean that some dangerous people will get out, uh, if they shouldn't. But of course,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not
I mean,
always the case. Yeah,
that's somehow like my image is that if someone is like actually a dangerous
yeah,
person, that kind of like, okay, this person just will do this again. They don't, I don't know what's the politically correct way to say these things, but you know that they are so mentally ill in a specific way that it's not just safe to let them ever out
hmm.
of the institution.
But how is this with these kind of convictions? Like, I have no idea when someone is like not sent to prison but to a mental institution. Is it like what is like is it for a certain number of years and then they reevaluate, or is it more like indefinitely and then we follow up regularly and kind of see if there's any development, or how is it?
I think it's like I don't know how it is in Germany either, but I think it's like I can only speak from the perspective of the states, I guess, with any confidence, and that's not even a lot of confidence, but like yeah, usually go into a mental facility until they're able to stand trial or until they can be rehabilitated because they're so yeah, mentally unstable or ill or whatever that they indeed were insane at the time of the crime or weren't in the capacity to understand what they were doing, which is quite rare, I think. Um, and then they're in the system until they're on proper medication or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Like if they're schizophrenic or whatever, usually the cases for that, I'm not saying that people who are schizophrenic always, commit crimes, but if you're not on medication and you have a certain type of schizophrenia where you are violent or
Yeah,
something and you're not on your meds, then
I
of
guess
course.
overall those are probably, still the minority of cases.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah.
So, yeah. But I think, yeah, in that case, then you can't really be accountable for your
Mm-hmm.
crime. And I don't think like, if someone killed my loved one who was mentally unstable or something and was off their medications, I think I would maybe feel a bit more that not to punish them in the prison system, but like get them the help they need so they never do it again in like some psychiatric ward or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But then I would be like, then they're kind of negligent for themselves if they knew that they would have some type of violent history if they weren't on their medication. That's when they're accountable for the murder. But whether you can put them in prison for, I don't know, any given amount of time is the question too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think it's, I think often, at least the cases I've read in Finland, they are kind of this, what's the word, like sociopaths and that type
Mm.
of
Which can't really be, yeah, which can't be fixed usually
yeah.
because it's kind of part of their brain at that point. Like, you're not gonna rehabilitate them. Yeah.
So I don't know, like maybe, but there the point is that it's not like sentence that okay you will be there X years, but it's more
Mm-hmm.
like okay as
Mm.
long as you are not stable enough to be outside of the hospital, you will be in the hospital.
Yeah. And I think in those cases, then if you're like, yeah, a sociopath, like literally someone who just doesn't give a fuck about anybody else but themselves, I doubt you'd have a easy time getting out of that facility.
Yeah.
I would hope, because Jesus Christ, like then there'd be everybody walking around eventually on the streets.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know. It would be interesting to know more about this guy, because I think if someone is not
yeah.
sent to prison but to a mental facility instead, then certain
Mm,
conditions have to be true. Like they cannot like understand that what they are doing is wrong, or like, that they are not,
yeah,
yeah, that they don't,
yeah,
yeah, I don't
definitely.
know,
Yeah.
that they don't have the mental, like, not necessarily mental capacity, but the kind of state of like mind to like understand that this is a crime.
Hmm. I mean, usually when people like try to cover up their murders, like they usually don't get the insanity
Mm-hmm.
defense plea in the States because they committed the murder. They apparently were insane at the time of the crime, but then they try to cover up the crime, so they knew it was bad. Like, at what point can you say that you were in the know about the crime? And it's just a bit of a,
Yeah, and it's
yeah, was there foreplanning or
yeah, and it's
not? And
especially
yeah.
interesting in this case because her body was not found for so long. So like, was she hidden? And then if yes,
Mm,
what does that tell us about his? Yeah, I don't know. Was she trying to cover it up, or?
yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if it was indeed in that forest area in the Wald, that Odenwald, then yeah, I mean, that's probably a pretty big area to cover, mountains and stuff like that. And yeah, so yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
area.
but it will be interesting to know if there's going to be any more details about him. If
Yeah.
there is a if there is some development, or like the other cases that he was convicted of.
Yeah, like because that's the thing, like I'm sure you could probably piece together, like if I had, I don't know, some super sleuthing skills or something like that, I'm sure you could probably, at the time of the crime, okay, this guy was this age, and then try to see if there's any other cases, I don't know, around this part of Germany that rapes or something were happening or whatever, and then like people in the mental facility, but it's like they protect the names so well that you can't even really do
Mm-hmm.
that like in the States. Like in the States, I kind of just like blast people's names, but in Germany, they really respect
Mm-hmm.
it. So yeah, yeah, it's kind of a pity. But then, of course, if I was ever convicted of a crime, I would want it the German way, or like, or a suspect of a
Yeah,
crime, I would
yeah.
want it the German way.
I mean, sure,
Like,
because like there are also plenty of those cases when this is not, like when you're a suspect, but you didn't actually commit the crime. And then, yeah.
yeah,
So I think it makes sense to. And in this case, I guess it's not like 100% confirmed. I mean, Occam's
no,
razor,
I
right?
mean,
Like,
yes,
but,
yes, exactly, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's this guy. Like,
y-
come on, past history and the DNA and the circumstances and even witnesses and blah blah blah.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Eh, yeah. So that was the case. Still managed to make about 40 minutes
Mm.
of it, but yeah.
Well, I guess we can say, as usual, that if anyone listening to this knows any other details, let us
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yeah, definitely. I would be more than interested in knowing anything about this. And I mean, she still probably has parents that are alive. She had a brother around
Mm-hmm.
her age,
Yeah.
so 37 plus 15, so yeah, in their 50s by this time. So, yeah. Yeah. Shitty situation, but good that it's kind of on its way to being solved
Yeah.
at least, or bringing closure. Do we call it a day on this one?
Yeah. I guess I could keep on speculating.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we can speculate for an hour. Maybe we can do like an after show
Yeah.
Yeah.
speculation off there, so people don't need to listen to us. But yeah, thanks for listening to this case,
Yeah.
guys.
But what will we have next with Victoria?
Yeah, so next
Yeah.
week, another Hungarian case. And unless I change my mind last minute, it's probably going to be a cold case. More recent, I think from the 90s. It's related to. I'm trying to think about a hint to give. We'll post something on Instagram as a hint. There are some mafia ties in the case,
Oh.
probably. So that can be a hint that I give here.
Okay. Sounds good to me. So yeah, keep an eye out for those hints on our Instagram account at Translation Murder Podcast. And if there's any suggestions, comments, concerns, or basically any further information about any of these cases, or maybe even some stories you want us to read online, then let us know. And yeah, send us an email. But Petra, what should they not send us?
Dick pics.
Yes. Don't send us dick pics. Send us love mail, not hate mail, but no dick pics. Yes. Alrighty.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
listening.
Thank you.
Yes.
See you next week.
Okay. Hei paralla. Yep.
Moro.
Bye.
Bye.